But now with our full suites of AI technology, improving her sales, and now we also have additional funding to help boost her best performing content, like getting her like previously maybe 100,000 views now to 10 million views for the best performing content.
Wow.
She is actually, her sales is at a 9-figure now.
Wow.
GTM AI podcast with Jonathan Moss and Coach K, where you get the latest with AI and GTM today.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It is I, Coach K, and I am really excited to have my good friend Joy here. How are you, Joy?
Good.
Good. So we have a story I got to tell really quick. So you are the CEO of Markable, and randomly, I was coming back from the conference in Austin, and I had the pleasure of sitting next to you. And obviously, I didn't know who you were. You were so nice to me, sitting down, very thoughtful about me, getting some space for my stuff, and then turn it into this 3.5 hour long conversation of random stuff, from your
Awesome.
story to our kids to spiritual stuff. We covered the gamut. It was a really enjoyable conversation. So on the plane, I was like, hey, I'd love to interview you on the podcast. And now we finally have a chance to do so. I'm just want to say it's been a pleasure talking to you and just having you around. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we share a lot of the same values, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's fun when that clicks like that. So I obviously the audience probably may not know about you. So what I'd love to do is that obviously I can ring off all of your LinkedIn stuff. What I would prefer to do is to have you talk more from the story not on LinkedIn. Like what's your story and how'd you get to be doing AI stuff? Because I know you have a long AI story, but I want to make sure I can hear it from you.
Sure. How many minutes I got for this?
Whatever you want. We got a half hour. You do it. You take a picture.
Okay. Yes, I was born in China. I was the only child. It was like the only one child policy.
Right.
So I would say when I was born, a lot of people in my family were disappointed that I'm a girl. But my amazing parents, my dad is actually in education. So he told me from day one that a girl can do anything a boy can do. So especially when it comes to science and math. So
Okay.
when I was little, he particularly trained me on my ability on science and math. And eventually, I actually got a gold medal in math Olympics. As and when I got it, I was 16 and the only girl, and everybody else were boys or 17 or
Mhm.
18. Well, it felt really good. And with that gold medal in math, I was able to come to United States for college, and I went to MIT for undergrad, majoring math and econ. So, and during I've always been a very entrepreneurial person. My parents actually both entrepreneurial. My dad built my high school, and my mom did 20 different technology startups. You know,
Right.
and one of them is actually bringing QR codes to China. Some of you might know like how powerful QR codes in China today.
Yeah.
Uh, so I grew up like watching people raising funding, hiring employees, firing employees, like all these hurdles. That was
Right.
the daily dinner topic on the family dinner table. So that was
Right.
really interesting. And in college, I'm actually same year with Mark Zuckerberg, who built Facebook. I
Right.
watched him hiring the first group of teammates from MIT and from Harvard, building from ground up, and I
Yeah.
was fascinated by it. And in my junior year in college, I actually started another Facebook, but for really niche market for Chinese speaking students, and with a few of my friends from Berkeley and one from Canada, and then we basically made this Facebook platform for only Chinese speaking students. Initially was like for dating purpose. Because people
Right.
date other Chinese speaking students, but also speak
Yeah.
English because that's a different class and people who don't speak English.
Right.
So you want to find people in the same class with you. And it went viral. Like we got over 10,000 overseas Chinese students and all from the Ivy League schools. And that's pretty much 100% of them out there.
Yeah.
That was in 2000 and 2007-ish. And then we successfully sold this social media platform of, you can say that, rich Chinese kids to
Sure.
to a social media platform in Asia. So that's like kind of my first sweet taste of entrepreneurship and being a math-minded person. Afterwards, I worked in high frequency trading. So using AI, and then it was not even deep learning or just machine learning
Right.
to come up with simple algorithms, watching trends from indexes and automatically buy and sell in the financial market thousands of times a day, just taking advantage of the time arbitrage. And
Yeah.
sometimes the time arbitrage is in nanoseconds. So
Right.
I was fortunate I was working for one of the best, most prestigious high frequency trading firm. And at that time, like 90% of the S&P futures market was like us. So that was
Right.
really exciting. Two of my bosses are all billionaires. And I did that for that industry. I stayed for over 7 years. But eventually I felt like really empty in my soul. I felt every day I'm sitting in front of the computer, I'm like staring at the numbers, jumping up and down, looking at little arbitrage, squeezing it every day. And I don't talk to anyone. Like I'm literally just talking to computers. And I'm talking
Right.
to my teammates. And even the teammates sitting next to me, we're all wearing headphones. Because it's so boring staring at the numbers, so we're all listening to music. When we talk to each other, we're just typing on the computer. We're not even talking to each other.
He's chatting back and forth.
Like that, I am actually a pretty social person. I love talking to people. I want to see that something I built that actually changed the world, bring benefits to other people.
Yeah.
What I think is more rewarding. So after 7 years in high frequency trading, I added an amount of savings. I was like, this is the time where I build myself a little cushion and I should take a bigger risk. And combining my own passion, which is social media. I'm not an influencer though, but I am a typical consumer that always on social media looking at content and looking
Right.
for to buy. Even when I was little, as this joke, like my mom joked that why do you have all these like fashion magazines? Like you're
Right.
supposed to be a mass major and but you're like staring at fashion magazines all day. Like what's this like it's a waste of your time. And I was telling my mom, I was like, my mom, like, if you don't know how to spend money, you don't know how to earn money. So, you will see.
I will show you, Mom. I will show you.
Maybe one day this means something. And I'm glad like today I can tell her, see, I told you. So now
Right.
I'm helping. I started a new company, Markable now. It's basically initially we developed the algorithm using AI to automatically recognize products from any given videos or photos on social media and buy anything I wanted to without talking to the creators. And now it's like pivoting to actually serving the creators because I realizing just building a software, skipping the creators is not as fun. We actually did a test. If we skip the creators, simply show the followers similar products, the transaction rate is 20 times lower than if the creators
Oh,
actually
wow.
tell the followers what to buy.
That's crazy.
So now, like, we pivot as a company to also serve directly the creators so they can have
Mhm.
a lot of input. So their followers looking at their content is actually being directed to the products they talk about. It's a really interesting journey. Like, I actually really feel fulfilling now. I'm using AI to help people. As a little funny story, like my neighbor she is like the number one Amazon creator.
Yeah.
When I met her, she was like selling $2 million worth of products and she's making a couple hundred grand for herself and she can do this full time. But now with our full suites of AI technology improving her sales, and now we also have additional funding to help boost her best performing content, like getting her like previously maybe 100,000 views now to 10 million views for the best performing content.
Wow.
She is actually, her sales is at a 9-figure now.
Wow.
So I definitely feel the benefit like helping people, but we actually so far we have only 1,000 creators using our software and then we are able to improve their sales by 5 to 6 times, which is great with the software. But then if we help them actually do boosting of their top performing content, their income can increase like anywhere from 10 to 20 times. The creators in our pipeline right now, we got them to become millionaires. So they're making over 1 million to themselves after our acceleration program from technology and the funding. So we're hoping to help more creators out there.
I love it. So obviously, it's going to pique the interest of a lot. I could go down a lot of paths. Let's start with the influencer one. So I know you focus on Instagram and TikTok, or just Instagram mostly, or which platform usually?
Yeah, we currently focus on mostly Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
TikTok, we're exploring. Like, I know there's a lots of controversy with TikTok, they're gonna stay or not. So I want to wait until they're definitely gonna stay. Then we invest more. But there's a lot of good things with TikTok. But at the same time, like right now, today, I was saying how, Facebook and Instagram, their advertising revenue is like 10 times of TikTok.
Right.
Even though the young kids are spending more and more time watching TikTok value videos, but their monetization is not as their monetization products, like their advertising product, is not as mature as Meta yet. So at this moment, we're pretty happy just spending most of our resource on Meta. And YouTube is another story. YouTube's cost of advertising is just more than Meta, so we haven't spent that much resource on YouTube yet, but I think once we had more chance to spend more time, it could also turn out pretty good for us.
That's cool. So that makes sense. Then I would assume the industry you're working with is either Amazon-based type products, so physical products, design, retail, clothing, anything that's pretty much on Amazon. Is there any restriction or either an industry or a product type you don't go after? Because I know people just say, "Ooh, influencer, let's talk." It's like me as an influencer, I don't push Amazon. I push digital products or software or other stuff. So I'm a little bit different take. So I'm just curious, like, what's the ideal fit for an influencer for you?
Yeah, digital products can be great. I actually tried to test digital product, but unfortunately, maybe the digital product was too niche. We tested on someone ADHD influencer
Yeah.
to create a digital product that help people to come up with a better habit who have ADHD symptoms. We tried to boosting it, but it wasn't profitable, maybe because the digital product was too niche. So I'm actually really interested to test on some a digital product that everyone can purchase or anyone might be interested, that could turn out really good because even when we drive traffic to Amazon, and we also do Walmart and Target and Wayfair, these big retailers sometimes,
Right.
but these retailers have 30 to 60 days, sometimes even 90 days payout schedule.
Mhm.
So we don't see the money coming until 2 to 3 months later. So
Yeah.
if there's like some kind of digital product that anyone could willing to purchase and buy, that'd be much better. So we don't have to wait for that
Right.
period.
I have a slew of ideas, but we'll talk about that later though. But
Um,
what I want to do though is that one thing I loved on the plane is that this there's a lot of things. One was you're so nice, so kind, and someone like yourself has a very educated, very smart background. You could explain AI way better than I could in your sleep, but yet you don't come across like you know everything. You're very humble and very kind, which I appreciate. Number one. Number two, though, that I know that before you had a tag name that I'm not gonna say because I don't want people to know you as that. But because you're deep in the AI space, that's what people know you of. So what I'm curious of is combining both your world of entrepreneurship or business with AI. Like, for companies who may already have a massive organization or even like the startups and mostly people I'm listening, what kind of thing do you tell them to look for when it comes to AI capabilities or how to take AI and then find a problem in the market that you've successfully done and really hit it with AI? What is your process to do that?
yeah, I actually tell you the lessons I learned first because I previously created a visual recognition technology first. We even
Nice.
got an AI patent in the US and Japan market, and I thought this is going to be amazing, but it didn't go very well because it's a technology I personally think is amazing, and I believe consumer will love it, but we actually launched the market. We try to launch with Asia's Instagram, Asia's YouTube, and the platform actually, I was friends with their CEO. They actually launched it. But the next thing come up is like the content creators were complaining. They're filing complaints. They're saying that, hey, I'm representing Louis Vuitton, for example. They sponsor my post or they sponsor my outfit, but then you put the similar AI recognition feature there and then my followers, and I bought something similar for $30 knockoff version. So that
Right.
the conflict of interest with my sponsor, with my content, you're violating my IP right. So that is like the classic example where we solve one community's pain point, but that community can only be reached if we convince another community. Like,
Right.
for example, we can only reach the consumers through social media, right? Is the fastest way through creators, but then it actually have conflict of interest with this other community who can help us to scale it. So I guess when it comes to AI technology, I had this conversation with another of my neighbor who is like a doctor,
Mhm.
and he is people have asked me, can you use visual recognition to recognize brain tumors, recognize like kidney stones and things like that?
Mhm.
Then I know a lot of my friends in that space because I was in the computer vision space for a long time. A lot of them had entered like the problem was like they have to get FDA approval, and then it's like a really long
Right.
process to for hospital to use it. And then what's interesting that my neighbors, you know what, I don't need the hospital to use it. I just want to use it myself. That will save me hours of time I can spend with my family. Uh, then it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
that's actually a great angle, like to serve these physicians, right? Who have to
Mhm.
spend hours staring at the films. Like we can just save them time and tell them like, hey, like 80% is there's a tumor there, something like that. So I think technologies are great, but you have to think about who is your customer and how easy it is to get to them. And I think I learned a lot of lessons from my past. So this round, like I decided I'm not going to serve the big platforms because the big platform, like social
Yeah.
media platform, even when I build my amazing AI technology, the first thing I think of is like, okay, let me test with them. If it's great, I'm going to replace them because their AI
Mm.
technology, they have thousands of AI scientists themselves. So creating an AI technology for a audience that are not technical is actually better. And then ideally there's a lots of them. So that's why I now build the AI technology for my neighbors, like content creators.
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
technical. They're not going to replace me. And we solve their problem. And they're also decision makers. So they can make a decision really fast. So yeah, so those are, think of who's your customer and how easy they can adopt and how many of them out there and would they ever try to replace you?
Yeah, I think one thing that is really powerful is that the concept around making things easier for non-technical people who need some sort of technical assistance or technology thing is so powerful because there's so many industries that have outdated processes, tools, things, whatever, or abilities like what you're delivering to influencers they never had before. And when you make it like I after you and I talked on the plane, I logged in, I signed up, my apps on my phone. I was like, this is cool because I just wanted to see what the user experience was like as someone who just talked to you and wanted to see what it was like. And I think that you've done a really good job with that. Question for you. This is a marketing topic that I'd love to pick your brain on. And I probably this and maybe one more, and then I'll let you go. But the concept around there's a term going around B2B marketing called dark social, which is the
Mhm.
concept of I'm sure you know what it is, but basically of there's the communities or things being talked about on the back end that you can't attribute to marketing, but because someone saw some marketing from someone, they go into the community and say, "Hey, does anyone know this tech, this product, this person, this thing?" And they get feedback from their social group, and then they come back and engage in a sales process or buying process of some kind. I bring that up because I'm curious from your lens as seeing all the social media stuff, and you just talked about what the stats can do from a social media influencer. Where do you see things going when it comes, and how should people be thinking around AI, specifically with social media and the power it can bring into a marketing lens for any product?
Yeah, like I think the dark social, like that almost remind me a little bit like how Reddit started. Like Reddit
Right.
started like underground, like people just sharing their opinions about things, like
Right.
anonymously, right? Like you don't know who they are, they're just sharing whatever they want to say. And now people are saying that they see really good ROI with Reddit. I think at the end of the day, people, the reason social media is powerful is because credibility is powerful.
Right.
It's like they trust this creator because this creator is being the space, so they believing almost everything they say. They think that they probably know better than themselves. So I think
Right.
that's what's powerful with social media, and right now we have I would say each content creator, they're basically a brand. They're basically a brand themselves. Like they make
Yeah.
themselves valuable, right? But then the thing is, like a lot of these creators or brands, they don't have enough manpower or budget to constantly create new content that is
Right.
can capture the audiences. So we actually have a new AI content generation feature that we're gonna launch soon. That basically looking at your previous best performing content and come up with new content that
Crazy.
like that. But
Yeah.
we don't want it to replace the creators. So when we first discussed with my neighbor, she was like, "Oh my god, this is so scary!" Like she's worrying. But now, like when I explained
Right.
to her, I was just at this AI conference with Meta and Google and TikTok. They're all building content generation AI right now. So if you're not utilizing this weapon, you're behind. Other people
Yeah.
utilizing that, they will have a shining armor. You don't have it. So it's everyone should be equipped themselves with these tools. And so I tell creators like we're never gonna post anything behind your back. These are the content simply for you to decide whether you want to post or tweak them before you post them. So it's
Yeah.
the weapon for you. So I think that is
Yeah.
something that will be very powerful. And the other things that we already launched in the app, like for example, auto response. So a lot of the creators that they don't have time to create that stickiness with their followers. They post the content,
Right.
unless their system can respond to every single comments and messages. But the stickiness is important because I'm sure everybody felt that if content creator respond your message, you're much more likely to go back to them. So
Right.
yes. So we have a AI bot, auto response bot, like when your followers make a comment, will automatically send a direct message. We used to be able to respond into the comment, but unfortunately,
Right.
the social media platforms say that if you do that, then it's like manipulating the engagement rate. So the more comment you
Yeah.
have, the more engagement you have. So now we just respond in the direct messages, and that's perfectly fine.
Nice. I love that. So a follow-up to that, like basically it's just what I love is you're trying to make these little pains of social media creators like responding to DMs and content creation. Then you showed me the video. I totally forgot about this. The video you showed me on the plane of the avatar was crazy. And then when you see what like the Hey Gen model with the Zoom clone you can do, and there's I had the CEO of One Mind, the One Mind person. They're doing a sales avatar. Crazy where things are going, but that's the world that it's going to is this amplifying the human inside of any process, which is crazy. So last question, I shouldn't say last question. There's actually two. But one would be, what are you most excited about this next coming year for you personally with agents or anything else that might be coming?
Hmm. To be honest, I'm most excited to have more free time. I'm I'm overwhelmed. Um,
Yeah.
like so many things I have to deal with I every day, but I'm a automation minded person. So whenever I see that these things are so manual, like I tell my team, can we automate it? So we have a long list of items to automate our current internal workflow. And I'm excited once that is completed. I'm just like dreaming how much my free time I can have for myself. That's it.
Right. And a little more chill time. I know you've been busy. You've been traveling like crazy. So I get it. Well,
Yeah.
Joy, I'm actually excited for that too, but I just want to tell you, due to your name, you are definitely a joy to know and just a pleasure to talk to you. So I want to say thank you. I will make sure we have your information up on the podcast notes for people to connect with you. Is there, if someone wanted to talk to you, is there a best way you recommend to have someone reach out, or what do you prefer?
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn. I do check my messages at least once a week on LinkedIn. Go
Right.
go search Joy10 markable.ai, you'll probably find me. And alternatively, I also have my email is joy@markable.ai.
Cool.
So feel free to reach out to me. I can't promise I will respond. So if it's high priority, I will definitely try. Mhm.
Yeah, that's why you have to put high priority in the email things. I'll do it when
Oh,
I text you next time. Like high priority, Joy. I'll do that next time.
sure. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I love it. I'll make sure we have the links to your LinkedIn and to the website in the show notes to make sure people can find you. But love the tech, love talking to you, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
No problem.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.